Welcome everybody, my name is Misty/Chronexia, and for the most part, a lot of you guys already know that I'm working on an anime production that's gonna be called Chronexia and the Eight Seals. Now, if you go back all the way to July, we released the opening that was gonna be the opening for the show. When we did promote the opening, we end up saying that the first episode would come out during August. It's now September and the episode is not out. So a lot of people are like, what the hell, Misty? Where's my episode? I need my fix. Give it to me. And the thing is, it's not ready yet. So in a nutshell, that's what's happening. Now, for when is it going to be ready? I want to say October now. But hear me out. We don't know. That's the ground line that is what we're trying to get at. It's going to be ready when it's ready, and we don't want to give you guys something that's half-assed, but at the same time, since it's not just my money that's involved, I also don't want to be like, you know what, 2018, that sounds fair, because that's not really what we want to do. So I want to make some kind of deadline eventually that is feasible, that's attainable. So for now, it's October, but the thing is, like, I keep putting deadlines and everything, but I've never made a show before, and I hardly even know how, like, before I started the project, I had no idea how to go along with it. And I'm gonna go into some inside baseball later down this video, but, like, how long does it take to make something? We didn't really have an idea, so we put, like, a rough estimate, and it turned out to be not even close to that. So, this is why it's now being delayed to October. Now, the reason why it got delayed so much is because we never reached the financing we wanted on Patreon. On Patreon, if you go on the page right now, I think it's still under the milestone that we wanted. We wanted $7.5 thousand per month, so we could pay the staff, we could pay the voice actor, we could pay the music, we could pay everyone that's working behind the scene. And ever since we started the project, a lot of people have been supporting us way more than I ever expected, but it never reached that milestone. So because we never reached that, we had to cut out some staff members that were originally planned to be working on the project, but since we couldn't pay them, then they never got to work on it. So we have a lot of people that are on standby for the time being because we never got the money to pay them, and no one wants to work for free. I mean, beside me, but that's beside the point. So because we never reached the 7.5, that means less staff. Less staff means takes more time, and more times mean that it gets delayed. So this is why right now, this is what it turned out into. That being said, we still want to come out with a show. I have seen so much progress to this show that I'm not even allowed to show you guys because we want the first episode to be some kind of wow factor. So we've been trickling down detail very slowly and, like, with a lot of control over everything that's being released. And because of that, it means that I know what's going on, but you guys don't. Like, for most of you guys on YouTube don't follow me on Twitter, and even more people don't even follow me on Patreon, where we showcase most of the stuff that we decide to tell the Patreon people who support us. But for the most part, you guys, for all you know, the visuals are what it looks like in the opening that we made. That has been entirely scrapped, and it's been overall into something different. Does that mean it's going to be a different opening? Yes, kind of, at a certain extent, because we want everything to be on a certain level when we release it. And the opening that we did back in June or July is now nowhere near what we are at. So because of that, it means that we are going to have to redo the opening, which we have someone working on that. Is it going to be ready for the first episode? I don't think so. I want to say yes, but at the same time, maybe not. And the thing is, even if it's not ready for the first episode, it's not that big of a deal. Reason being is the first episode we're going to do is going to be a pilot episode. We're launching it to you guys. If people want to support us on Patreon, and then we reach the milestone that we have set, and then from that point onward, we decide to go on full time and everybody just focus full on this project, we're going to be able to afford that. But as it is being right now, it's just a pilot episode, and if it flunk and if nobody want to watch it, like if after all this and the episode release we have 100,000 views, we're not going to invest the time and the money in this because it's not going to appeal to people. So the pilot episode is going to come out, I want to say, like I said, in October. We're still not sure about it, but that's what we want to do. Now, as far as the inside baseball stuff that I mentioned, it is a lot more complicated than some people think, because animation is a world that we like. I'm talking to myself as an anime critique kind of character. Well, you don't really get to see the behind the scene that goes on with stuff. I can only talk from my case right now with the novel that I wrote. Everything started from the book that I wrote, which is Chronexia and the Eighth Seal. Again, if you want to know the story before the anime comes out, you can always get the book in the description. It's been translated to English, which was originally a work in French that got translated in English, and then people can buy that. But the translation is kind of iffy, so it got its issue, but overall it's still readable. I'm going to use one example in this case, a running scene, because I don't want to reveal too much, but at the same time I want to show some bit of action for what we're doing and everything. So let's say in the first episode there's that running scene in the rain. So you take that scene from the book, which is purely text, you switch it now to a screenplay. That's a different kind of adaptation for the screen. So it's got to be rewritten into a different type of text. So you got the book, and then it goes to screenplay, and then the screenplay, it goes into the storyboarding. The storyboarding is kind of like the layout, the big keyframes that are going to be used for the animation. Once you have the storyboarding, now you make the full-fledged keyframes that are going to be like bigger. That's what we're going to have in the final result. And once you have the keyframes, you make the what we call in-betweeners, which are like linking the keyframes together. Once that is done, we do the line art, which is like the more finished product of the visuals. Once that is done, we have to add the shadings where they're going to be. Once that's done, we do the color. While that is being done, somebody is working on the background. And once everything is done together, we put we stamp it all together, and we get the final result that's here. But that's not exactly the final result, because now we have to do the audio that goes with it. So while the whole studio is working on making the visuals for the show, I have to take care of everything that's audio. So we hired musical artists to make the soundtrack, which you may be able to hear in the background of me speaking right now. We have the voice actors that are also have to be directed in a certain pattern, so it matches what we want to set out. So we had auditions for that. We had to take care of it, and now that it's been selected, then we had to do a group reading, and from the group reading we had to take like the final cut and decide, yeah, go with that. So they make their files, send it to me. Same with the music, make their file, do some testing. Is that what I want? Not exactly, tweak it around, send it to me. And eventually I get all of these together. Once I get all that, I have a Foley artist that is going to be assembling the visual along with the sound effects. So they're going to put like the rain effect, and the thunder, like the walking, all the Foley. And once that's done, then we have an episode. And that is what takes the most time. Mostly on the side of the animation, where they have about 20,000 frames to draw each individually. So it takes forever, understandably. And so yeah, that's the reason why it takes so long for the anime to come out. But in a nutshell, the project has not been cancelled. It's slightly delayed because it takes longer to make stuff than we planned for. And the thing is, we went into an overall design. We had Because if you compare the where we started, if you remember when I first mentioned the project back in April, we had this kind of visual. Not the hottest thing on the block, for sure. But you guys believed in us, and you wanted us to make this a thing, so we started slowly, and we came out with the opening, which was a step in the right direction, I like to believe. And now, with the feedback everyone gave us on the opening, and all the people, all the naysayers that were like, "Oh, this is gonna be shit," we were like, "Just wait until we get the first episode." So now, instead, we have this kind of result, and we want to keep improving. So yeah, with now the character being all put into HD format, we're hoping that the new design with the soundtrack and everything, because every single ingredient that I have is amazing. Now, what I have to do is assemble the whole thing like a jigsaw puzzle and hope that it comes out with a result that you guys are going to be proud of. Because it's not just my project, it's yours as well. Because so many people have put their feedbacks, so many people have put their money in it, and like the only thing I have in this is the story itself, the characters, and that's about it. The rest is all thanks to you guys, and I want you guys to be proud of me at the end of the day, because I'm not doing this side project with the just as a glance and to be forgotten in like 2 months. I really want this to work out, so that's why it takes a little bit longer. I'd rather push it back more than have people get an half-assed product. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative enough so you can know what's going on with the project. And if you want to know more detail, a lot of the information about the project are being given out on the Patreon. So a single dollar is all you need to know about everything. If you want to pay more, then that's going to allow you different rewards and stuff like that. So support us on the Patreon. And if you really can't afford to, spread the word on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. This is where I put some extra information if you want to know about the project and everything else I do. This is the place where I go. So thank you guys so much for your time. I'll see you very soon in the next video I make. Bye-bye.